Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tech with Jabs. Yeah, thought it would be fun to do that. But before we go to today, my name is Njabulo Choncho. I am a software developer, so I am in tech. And today's topic is, what would I do if I had no experience and I wanted to start a career in tech? Notice, guys, I say if I had no experience on purpose, right? Tech, like any other field, depends on the amount of experience that you've accumulated over the years. Because automatically, when companies approach you or you approach companies, they want to see what you've done and they want to see what you can do, right? At least they want to believe that because of the time that you've spent in any industry that you can actually do what you say you can do, right? So that's why I leave the experience out. So if it's way easier to get a job in nowadays in a field like tech when you've got experience, because people are actually looking for people that are in tech anyway, so it's quite easy. So that's why I actually took the experience out of this topic. So right now, as of the recording of this video, it is 2020. So what would I do in 2020 if I had absolutely no experience? Let's go on further. I have no experience in tech. In fact, I didn't even study anything related to tech. In fact, let's go one further. I didn't even study anything, right? How would I get into tech? Well, personally, I noted down a couple of things that I would do to get started in tech, and at least to get to a point where I've got at least a foot in the door. I wanted to get these points at a place where they can really assist you. You know, I'm not into the habit of wanting to waste anyone's time on this channel. So I do know that people are struggling to find work. I do know that people have been fired. I do know that people need help and assistance. So it would never be my intention to waste time, to just come here and to be someone that is just here to waste your time. I have to reiterate that. So having said that, I just need to be clear that I ran all these points through various recruiters, and most of them were actually, in fact, all of them, there were none that had a negative thing to say about all these points. Basically, what I got from interactions with the different tech recruiters, what I got from this was that following these sort of guidelines, you'd most likely get to a point where you'd actually are able to get some sort of foot in the door with regards to the tech industry, right? So it was all positive feedback from all the guys that I talked to, and I actually noticed that I actually believe that these would work on most people if implemented right, but they're not as easy to implement as you might think, because they do come with a bit of hard work behind them. They do need a bit of hard work. So, first point. So if I had absolutely no experience in tech, right, the first thing that I would do, knowing that the tech industry is something that is currently in heavy demand right now, what I would do is I would do a Google search on some of the tech jobs or tech fields that are currently in demand and that are on the rise right now. And guys, I'll take my time on this. I'd do like a thorough search, right? And then I would look at a few of them. Once I looked at a few of them, I'd pick a few that sort of sparked my interest, right? That's point number two. After I've picked a few that actually sparked my interest, I'll then do another search and see what skills would be required for me to actually start getting involved in those fields that I actually had done a bit of research on, right? So that's the next step. Do more research and find out what skills I need to learn. And then obviously, because at this point I wouldn't know anyone in the industry, in tech, I'll take my time as well with the research on the skills that I'd need, that would be required, right? And once I find out what skills are required, right, from those different topics that I actually researched on, next I would spend at least an hour a day learning those different skills. Now, mind you guys, at the moment, I'd be at a point where there's no one to guide me, there's no one to assist me, but I'd be telling myself, at least it's some sort of starting point. So you have to start somewhere, right? Initially, you'd probably be at a point where you feel a bit discouraged because you'd be thinking to yourself, will this even be worth it? Will this even bear any fruit? But trust me, guys, if you stick it through, right, it would definitely, you definitely reap the benefits for it. So, right, so at this point, I'd be at a stage where every single day I dedicate at least 1 hour to learning a particular technology, right? Still at a point with no guidance. I have to repeat that, right? But now, so every day, bear in mind that you would probably have been still trying to look for work, so as you would have been doing before, and maybe not getting a job, but you at least you'd be at a point where every day you dedicate 1 hour to learning about some sort of technology. And then, right, while I'm doing all that, guys, so I've started my learning with no guidance from anyone, but at least I'm learning something. So every single day I know more and more about something, right? While I'm doing all that, guys, I'd get a LinkedIn account if I don't have one, right? And I'd register for a LinkedIn account. Then I would literally invite every single tech recruiter I could find. Every single one, guys. That, but never minding whether they accept or they don't accept, that is not your business. You would literally invite all of them. And then I'd go one step further. I would invite as many tech professionals as I possibly could. Make sure as many, and guys, when I say as many, I mean as many. You know, at times when we do something, we right now, especially as I'm chatting to you guys, you think that what I'm saying is just maybe some tech recruiters or some tech professionals. But no, guys, I mean a lot of tech recruiters, a lot of tech professionals. Right? You send as many invites as you can on LinkedIn, as many as you possibly can. Now, guys, mind you, you're still continuing with your learning every single day, and you're constantly checking on LinkedIn how your invites are going, right? Which is a good point. Now, at this stage, as the days progress, right, you'll find that some of the tech recruiters will actually accept you. Some of the tech professionals will start to accept your request, which is an awesome thing, right? Because it brings you that one step closer to your goal, which is of getting a job in the tech in the tech field, right? Or at least it might not even just be a job, but getting yourself involved in the tech field. So you're in a good position now. You're in a position where you can start to talk to various tech recruiters and talk to various tech professionals. While all this is going on and you're building a relationship with all these different guys, because you have been learning a particular technology or a couple of technologies, as I mentioned earlier, those that spark your interest, every day you've been giving yourself a bit of time. While you're learning those technologies, start building something. Now, when you talk about start building something, many people will start getting all hectic and they'll start thinking, yeah, you're referring to a portfolio. Yes, I am. But the reason I didn't use the word portfolio is because the moment you start mentioning the word portfolio, someone will be like, yeah, it needs to be a proper project. Everything needs to be solid. No. I'm talking about using the little skill set that you have built over even a space of 5 days or 10 days or a month. Start to build mini projects. And while you're building these little mini projects, what you'd be doing while you're building them is you'd be sharing them with those tech recruiters that you had invited and that had accepted your invitation, and also those tech professionals. And you'd actually be sharing links to your projects, right? And the mini projects, right? And I say mini projects because what I want you to get into is building something as soon as you possibly can. It might look silly. It might not be the best thing. You might not be following best practice as far as if it's a coding project. It might not be using best practice, but you are doing something and you are sharing what you are doing. And you will find the more you share what you are doing, especially with the tech professional side of things, they'll be giving you little hints and tips on how to improve your mini projects. And then you'll find that over time, your mini projects will become solid projects. Right? Things that you can actually be proud of. At which point they would still have been shared. Right? At that point, you start to build up your now I'm going to use the word portfolio because I didn't want it to be a hindrance before. I wanted you to know that you've got your little mini projects that From the moment, in fact, I should say, from the moment you start learning the technology, there'll be different exercises to try out. Always try to think out of the box. What can I build using this? And build it and see if there's some sort of way that you can put it online, or some way that you can share it, even if you can just share the file with someone, especially in the industry, in the tech field, and share that. Because you'll find that there's a lot of value in showing people what you can do. The danger in today's world is when people start out in the field of tech. And you know what? I can speak with authority on these topics mainly because I'm sharing some of the mistakes that I made when I was first starting out in the field. So you might have studied maybe in tech, and you might have studied whichever institution you studied it. If you studied, you might have not even have studied. Like I said, there are many ways to get into this field. You don't necessarily need to have studied anything, right? But you do need someone to guide you. The mistake that I made when I was starting out is sometimes you think that you just throw your CV around like it's a lottery type of system. You just throw it and you just hope. Oh, I hope someone is going to I hope someone is going to find it. I hope someone is going to find it. I hope, and you wait. And you wait and you wait. Now the challenge when you've applied for some sort of job is that the wait is very discouraging. Like I'm telling you guys, I'm speaking from experience. So while you wait, you're becoming more and more discouraged. So, and it's very hard to succeed when you're discouraged, because there'll be many things that you'll start sort of letting go of. Many things that you were doing before that were the way you were proactive, where you were sort of being proactive, and you start to let go and you start to fall back. Why? Because when you are jobless and when you have no prospects for jobs, whether jobless or if you are doing your own business, maybe if everything has come to a halt, that's a very discouraging period. So when that happens, you start to lose your creativity almost, and that is where the challenge comes in. And that's where you start throwing your CV all over the place, and you continue to throw things all over the place, and you get no results. And that is the biggest challenge that people are facing right now. You've got so many people that are literally, some people even moved back home because of the situation where they thought that the place that they'd moved to, maybe they'd moved to a different city, or maybe, they'd moved to a different city, or they'd even gotten their own place in that same city. But because of the situation that they find themselves in, they end up having to go back home. And the challenge is because they think by merely emailing CVs, guys, you have to find a way to set yourself apart. Merely emailing CVs is just not going to cut it. It will not cut it, guys. I made the same mistakes. It will not cut it. You have to find a way to make yourself stick out. And many people say this, but whoever does it, people have these conversations, but people still do the same thing where they're just throwing CVs all over the place. Guys, already by having your mini projects as a link of some sort, every time you share or you upload your CV or you send your CV to some sort of company, already it sets you apart from many people that are looking for work. It already sets you apart. Because why does it set you apart? It sets you apart because you have proof that you can do something. And that is what employers are looking for. They're looking for proof that you can actually do what you say you can do. You can imagine how many CVs employers or HR or even tech recruiters, you can imagine how many CVs they go through on a day-by-day basis. So if yours is going to be the same as everyone else, which means that yours has no project attached to it, there is no way of proving that you can at least do something related to whatever you want to apply for, then trust me guys, you will be staying at home for the next couple of years. It will be a challenge to find work, to find some sort of job. That's the thinking I want you to start having when you think about doing something. So what I'm sharing right now via this video, as I had mentioned earlier on, it's just guidelines. But these guidelines, I'm hoping, will change your way of thinking, where you start to get to a point where you are creative about the way you hunt for a job, if applying for a job is what you're wanting to do, where you start becoming more creative, guys. And I can say this with ease because I do know that you do need someone like myself to encourage you and to let you know that, listen, I know where you are coming from. I was there. So you right now you might have maybe have just finished studying even in the tech field, and you find that you keep on applying and everyone keeps on saying, but you don't have experience, so there's nothing that they can do. You see, I know all those answers, guys. I do know all those answers because I experienced all those answers. That's why you have to be creative, and you'll find that some of the points that I'll mention here will not be enough. You might think of something yourself that will actually set you apart from the rest, and then you find your career skyrocketing only because you took a chance. Guys, there's no point in you not taking a chance and go big or go. That's my advice to you, is that you make sure that you can prove that you can do what you say you can do, and then you will definitely succeed. So you've got your portfolio or mini projects all set up, and you've been sharing them with tech recruiters, and you've been sharing them with tech professionals, and you've been getting tips, and you've been asking questions from the tech professionals. You're already at a position where you are different from many people, guys. So already you're at an advantage if you follow these steps. The other thing I would do as well is, once I've reached this point of having these mini projects, you're now at a place where you can start applying for jobs because you can prove that you can do something, right? And at this point, the recruiters that you would have been talking to would know you by name already because of the many questions, and you've been talking to them, you've been asking them what internships are available, you've been asking them what companies are looking for people with potential such as yourself. You see, you'd be selling yourself, and also you would have been using other creative methods to get yourself out there, to get yourself visible, to get yourself seen. So at this point, you are now at a position where you can start applying for jobs. If you start applying for jobs, and if someone asks you about experience, if someone tells you you've got no experience, you tell them, hey, so and so can vouch for me, this recruiter, so and so can vouch for me, this tech professional. I've started working on these mini projects, and this is where I am with these mini projects, and I'm continuing to build on these mini projects that I've created. So see what I can do. This is what I can do, and I'm sure with time I'm only going to become better and better and better. In fact, your organization needs someone like me because I am proactive, I'm hardworking, and I've got something, and I can show you that I'm hardworking by what I've done as well. And yeah, while all this is going on, guys, you are still making sure that you are still learning your technologies, those that interested you, those that you found interesting. You still continue to learn. So it's not to say that just because now you're able to talk to tech recruiters and tech professionals, and you've started applying and you're actually getting responses, maybe even for temp jobs or whatever, it doesn't mean you stop learning. No. In fact, this is when you start learning more. So you are continuing to learn, and now at least you've got advisors that in some of these professionals, and you continue and you don't stop, right? And then over time, similar to money or anything else that you store, over time, the compounding effects of all your learnings will make it very hard for anyone to compare you to anyone else, right? Because you will know so much more than the average person. And you won't even be arrogant or prideful about it. It's just that whatever work anyone else can do, I can try to do to catch up, it will be impossible, guys. And we've seen this in sports as well. This is not for me, it's been mentioned so many times. The compounding effect of hard work pays off. So with you'd be totally focused on those particular technologies that had sparked your interest. And I repeat that had sparked your interest. And you'd be focusing on those technologies. And then you'd continuously learn those technologies, and you'd continuously build. Guys, it's very important to build things, to build little mini projects. And as you build those different mini projects, guys, you will start to become a subject matter expert on those topics that you decided to learn, on those technologies that you decided to focus on. But in no way saying that don't be broaden your learning. In other words, read a little bit of this, read a little bit of that. But I'm saying when it comes to learning the technologies, actually learning the technologies that you decided to focus on and building on those technologies is very important. And guys, trust me, at the very least, if you follow some of these steps, and if you come up with your own, even more creative steps, there is no way that an organization will not take you on. Or there is no way that somewhere, somehow, because of what you know and what you understand, you will not be able to seize some sort of opportunity which will take you by surprise that you would have not even been expecting. But because you can do more and you know more, something you can build your own thing. But there will be something that you'll be able to do to make sure that at the very least you are able to self-sustain and you're able to look after yourself as a start, because that's what we're fighting for here. We're fighting for a start, and then the rest is literally up to you. Once you've made your start, the rest is literally up to you. So this is my call to you guys. This is my call, and what I'm saying is I've given you a couple of tips of what I would do in today's world, and I've given you these tips based on what I know now. So a couple of years back, 10 years ago, I would never have been able to give you these tips. But as someone that is a developer right now, or as someone that is in the tech industry right now, I can tell you guys that this will dramatically increase your chances of employment if you are wanting to get some sort of job in the tech field. This will dramatically increase your chances. This approach, which is a more focused approach, and which is an approach that is most likely to work, but it's most likely to work, but it needs you to put in the work. That is where the challenge comes in, and most people aren't willing to put in the work. Many people you talk to, and they'll appear to agree with you, but they might not be willing to put in the work. So yeah, guys. So I believe that if you follow these steps, you are definitely increasing your chances of success. And really, as I mentioned earlier on, I do not want to waste your time, but this is what I would do if I wanted to get into the tech industry this year and I had absolutely no job. These are all the things I would do. And I actually do believe that with some creativity, following these sort of guidelines, I would actually, in a couple of months, be able to get a job. Mainly because I would have no competitors, because most people, as I had mentioned earlier on, are busy throwing things, hoping that some sort of magic is going to happen. And it does not work like that. So yeah, guys, so thank you guys for joining me for this episode. And I really do trust that you will make the efforts and that you will go out there and that you might have some tweaks. You might have a couple of tweaks on these, make a couple of tweaks on these guidelines or these tips. But as you make it, try them and you'll see. You will not be sorry. And yeah, and don't be discouraged. Tough times are there sometimes, but they are not forever. So you just keep on pushing and you keep on trying. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode, and I will see you in the next one.